Hello listeners of Illusion. Temporal Discussion is proud to present the Dunshelm players in When Five Tribes Go to War. The fourth era of the Dungeon of Deceit is imminent, and it is a time of change. The dungeon is growing fast and far beyond its old boundaries, while some of the mightiest of its occupants, both light and dark, are coming into conflict. When old alliances are broken by treachery and greed, fresh alliances are formed as new protagonists emerge until 5 distinct factions, 4 of them forces of evil and only one of them a force for good, take shape. Of these, it is the faction controlled by the sorceress Malice that takes the initiative. While the Dungeon Master, Treguard of Dunshelm, tries to remain impartial and above the conflicts in the greater game, the war leads to chaos, death, and a new dominant evil that he simply must range his forces against. Confusion is certain when 5 tribes go to war. In this audio play, Treguard is played by Russell O'Doney, Malice is played by Helen Beckinsale, Pickle is played by Andy Marshall, Adric (Lord Fear) and Fatilla the Hun are played by Martin O'Doney. Morgana and Mistress Goody Badwife are played by Rosie Collins. Merlin is played by Matt Richings. Mogdred is played by Martin Harder. Hordris the Confuser and Gumboil are played by Jake Collins. Scarkill is played by Ricky Temple. And Sir Hugh de Witless is played by Adam Hall.
Welcome to listeners to the Telepathic Broadcasting Circle. It is a beautiful setting for the wedding of the year, ladies and gentlemen. A beautiful setting. Literally dozens of delegates from across the north of England, as well as from the furthest reaches of civilised Britain. And from Cornwall too. As I look out across the rolling green lawns of Linghorn Palace, I can see the groom, the Honourable Earl of Damonia, looking most distinguished with his somewhat prominent upper teeth, expertly pomaced, and his more frontal nasal hairs all clipped back to under 7 inches, especially for the occasion. And now the beautiful bride, the Lady Morgana, steps up the aisle, regal in her black gown, black tiara, black shoes, black leggings, black makeup, black earrings. My word, but she looks every inch a lady on her wedding day, doesn't she? And her face lighting up into a fierce scowl, the epitome of marital bliss.
Well, Morgana, may I congratulate you. I never thought I'd see the day you allow a mortal man to make an honest woman out of you.
You came all this way just to taunt me, Merlin.
Taunt you? Morgana, nothing could be further from my thoughts. I came to your wedding because I was invited. By you, I assume.
Dragon's breath, you didn't imagine I wanted you at an occasion such as this, did you? Not after everything that you did.
After all these centuries, you still hold me responsible for the death of your father. What happened to the Duke of Cornwall was Eutha's doing, not mine.
And who helped him? Who cast the spell that deceived my poor mother? Who...
I did nothing to help Eutha slay your father.
Whatever you say. On the day I slay you, I'll make sure Mogdred does nothing to help me. That will be fair.
I truly thought you invited me as a peace offering, that we could become friends. How naive of me.
Very. Who did invite you anyway?
I can't imagine. May I ask, why did you choose to marry the Earl of Demonia, of all people? I would have expected you to have a more cerebral taste in men.
Oh? You doubt my new husband's intellectual calibre, do you?
Well, it's hard not to doubt the calibre of one who buys a painting of a dolphin wearing a crown, thinking it's a portrait of the Prince of Wales.
I'll grant you that. I wish the choice for this marriage were mine, but...
Ah, Merlin.
Oh, greetings, Dungeon Master. Moving ceremony, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I could have wept. I hope you'll forgive me, madam, if in your case I forgo the traditional privilege of kissing the bride.
I can live with that disappointment. Tell me who invited you.
Ah, so it wasn't you. I didn't think it was, somehow.
Tell me, Morgana, you said just now that the marriage wasn't your decision. Whose was it?
Why do you want to know?
Because this whole wedding is a mystery to me. I can't begin to understand why you agreed to marry anyone as official as Demonia, or why you were among the guests. If I knew who was behind this whole business, it might give us a clue.
I have been paid to marry him.
Paid?
Paid?
Who paid you?
Your darker self, Merlin.
Morgdred? You're taking orders from him?
Yes, and I'm sure that brings great satisfaction to you. Once again, my family is soiled by your meddling.
You accepted the payment, Morgana. If you've been soiled, then say it was your own choice to roll around in filth.
Leave me be, both of you.
This is unsettling. Why would Morgdred use Morgana as a wedding of convenience?
Well, if anyone can answer that, it's you. I see no reason for concern anyway. If this expels Morgana from my dungeon for a while, the greater game will be less of a strain to observe without her pompous shrieking.
Morgdred remains my concern, and he will still be there. And it would be very easy for him to find a new apprentice if he wanted.
I would hardly call Morgana his apprentice.
You forget, Treguard. She was my apprentice centuries ago, before my nature was bifurcated by circumstances. And as Morgdred is merely my darker half, it is reasonable to assume that Morgana would work for him under the right conditions.
You worry too much, Merlin.
I know. It's my way of compensating for dungeon masters who insist on seeing a joke in every disaster.
That's my way of compensating for seeing a disaster at every wedding I attend.
Disaster?
Haven't you seen the dress the groom's mother is wearing? Ooh, nasty.
Halt! Let me see your invite. Gumboil the irrepressible guards the way, and no one gets by without an invite. Well, where's your invite? This banquet is a private function to celebrate the joyous union between the House of Demonia and the House of LeFay, of which my employer is a close ally and benefactor. No one may pass to join in the revelries without an invitation at my employer's command. Leave at once, or you go on the chopping list, and your extremities go on the chopping board. That showed 'em. Did you see the way they turned and fled in the face of superior forces, Skarkill?
I ain't impressed.
And why not?
Because that woman you've just chased off must have been 70 if she were a day. Does you have to take your job so serious-like?
What does that mean?
It's a wedding. It ain't like we're guarding the crown jewels or nothing.
Ha! Only a young newbie like you could say something like that. You have no idea some of the things my boss has had me guarding in my time. It's only by my bold, efficient devotion to duty that I stay in best trim and shape to discharge my onerous duties.
Right. Fancy nip of ale?
Ale? Ale? What kind of attitude is that? Ale is an intoxicating substance. It's bad for concentration, it's bad for the stomach, blurs vision and speech, and ruins reaction times. It's completely wrong for any guard to quaff ale on duty.
Okay, it's just you shouting a bit. Not very lively. I thought a drop of ale might calm you down a bit, like.
This is not anger! I am just exerting my seniority.
Right. How about some dungeon juice then instead?
No! I do not... Hang on. Just how much alcohol have you got with you?
Just a couple of flasks. I don't know what that Morgana of yours thinks about these things, but the Earl, he doesn't mind having a drink or two to lighten the boredom, if he knows what I mean. Now don't get me wrong, I ain't saying Morgana's uptight or nothing. I mean, she's your boss, not mine. You'll know her better than I ever will. But it's just us that works at Demorny Castle. We're not always under the thumb, if he understands. And it just occurs to me that you shout a lot like. And it's just wondering whether the routine's a bit too stressful for you where you works.
Certainly not. Gumboil the immovable is staunch in his devotion to duty and is never distracted by... Wow, that dungeon juice smells strong.
Strong? This is just the stuff we're allowed to drink on duty. You should sniff the stuff in the cellar up at Demorny. They plug the flagons with cast iron corks.
Nice.
Not just nice. Lovely. But you wouldn't be interested in that, like. You've got your duty to think about here.
Yes, you're right. Well, I don't suppose a drop or two would hurt.
Course not. I mean, it ain't hurt me so far, has it?
Ah, that's good stuff. Actually, Morgana isn't my boss.
No,
No, she's more of a colleague.
but she outranks you. So
Well,
why are you doing guard duty at her wedding then?
my real boss arranged this whole occasion and he wanted it to carry off without a hitch. So naturally he wanted his very best men-at-arms guarding the front gate and keeping the riffraff out.
Oh, natural like. I suppose that's why there's only one of you here, and why he let Demorny choose the rest of the security detail, including me. How much are you getting paid for this gig anyway?
Pardon?
Money like, how much are you getting paid?
2 pieces of silver.
You what?
Yeah, impressive, eh? Those are the high rewards for serving a commander as great as my esteemed master.
Oh yeah, very good. There's you getting 2 whole pieces of silver for a day's work, and here I am making do with a gold ducat every hour.
How much?
I tells you something, Gumboil, and you won't even have to pay me a single silver piece for it. There are advantages to having a boss who's so thick that he hasn't a clue how to count money. The way Demorny thinks is like this. 2 is more than 1, so 2 silver pieces is worth more than 1 ruby. I likes the working conditions at Castle Demorny. There'd have to be a serious change in the command structure before I join your setup.
Mogdred, you will speak to me now.
You are impudent to give me commands, Morgana.
And why is that, my lord? We both know that your strongest power is in inflicting fear upon the fearful. I know you too well to fear you. My command of dark sorcery is greater even than yours, and one day I may let you see that for yourself.
Your words are nothing more than words. What business have you?
I have kept my side of our bargain, Mogdred. The marriage with Daemonia is joined, and your precious alliance is sealed.
Excellent.
Both Treguard and Merlin were present at the ceremony. Was that your doing?
Of course. The invitations were sent to them under my instruction.
Why?
Their absence has kept their attention away from the dungeon for several precious days, during which I have been able to work great sorcery upon it without interference. When it next comes into phase, its new manifestation will be very remote from what was there before.
I see.
And thanks to the alliance you have so skillfully constructed, it would allow me to spread my influence across the kingdom.
I don't see how.
You will. when you see what the Dungeon of Deceit has become.
And what of your side of the bargain?
My side?
Your bargain with me, Mogdred. I agreed to this ridiculous marriage under condition that you would grant me means to command the dream caverns.
And you shall have them, my dear. Spellcasting. T-R-A-N-S-F-E-R. There. The amulet of control for the dream caverns is now yours, and much good may it do you.
I thank you, my lord.
Oh, believe me, dear Morgana, it is I who must thank you. I have had by far the better of this arrangement.
One seldom deigns to offer more than a one-word answer these days, of course. One's more detailed attempts at explanation are usually met with bewilderment.
Which is why the druids call you the Confuser. So,
one shall not waste effort on explanations, Dungeon Master. Instead, you shall ask questions that call for yes or no. One shall answer them honestly, where possible.
I shall judge Hordrist honestly, Treguard.
thank you, Merlin. Very well, Hordris. How many questions may I ask?
As many as it takes you to break the rules.
What rules?
That question does not call for yes or no. You have broken the rules, and the questioning ends here. Just as an example there, you understand. You may begin your questions, Dungeon Master.
All right. Will Morgana return to the Dungeon of Deceit?
No.
Has she been replaced?
Not to my knowledge.
That answer is not a yes or a no.
No, then.
Will she be replaced?
It seems likely, yes.
Do you know whom she will be replaced with?
No.
Do you know when the next season of the Greater Game will begin?
Yes.
Is it soon?
Yes.
Will it be a matter of a few days?
Yes.
And the path to the future world that lies above our own, will that open once more?
Yes, the Fleolan Sheld is already primed. Although with Merlin here, you hardly needed to consult one about that.
Humour me. I need to know exactly what Mogdred plans to do. To continue to defend, or to attack?
Are you asking, or thinking out loud?
I'm asking whether you know.
Yes.
Well?
That is not a yes or no.
It is a simple one-word answer, as you said. Attack or defend? Which is it to be?
Defend.
Still to defend. He wishes to retain what he already possesses, rather than to gain more. Why does he take such a passive role?
I believe I can answer that.
That stands to reason.
When the dungeon is in phase, that is when Mogdred is most threatened. When your dungeoneers can approach his realm and menace him. When it is out of phase, that is the time when it shifts, changes, grows. Already the dungeon paths have spread beyond this castle, uniting them to elf lands such as Vanburn. Mogdred's influence spreads further and further through the land, simply by him staying in one place and consolidating his control of it. One day in the years to come, the Dungeon of Deceit will spread beyond the lands of Dunshelm, and Mogdred's influence will spread with it.
But he does not control the dungeon. I am the Dungeon Master.
There is much within the dungeon dimensions, though. Treasures that, were he to possess them all, would make him a more direct threat to you.
The sword, the crown, the cup, the shield.
Why do you imagine he often tries to corrupt dungeoneers rather than just to slay them? First he attempts to terrify your charges into making a mistake. Then, should they survive, he knows they are strong enough to be of use to him, so he attempts to lure them to his will. Then, should their quest succeed, he will claim the treasure from them to expand his own power.
For instance, had he gained the talisman, rather than being just the paramount of level 3, he would now have absolute control of it.
As Dungeon Master, you will have to remain neutral in these games, Treguard, but only so long as Mogdred lurks within the dungeons of your castle. Should the dungeon spread beyond that point, however...
Say no more, Merlin. My neutrality is something I have no desire to relinquish.
Not yet, perhaps, Treguard. Sometimes I've even noticed you enjoying the misfortunes of your dungeoneers. But you know, none of us can afford the dark side of my powers to spread beyond this layer. At present, the dungeon is the only thing that keeps Mogdred contained, but is now becoming the vessel that could release him.
Can you not sense the power in this place, my dear?
I sense much, my lord. What is this fortress called?
The Tower of Time. I cannot step beyond the Dungeon of Deceit, but as we have found that I can now stand on the flagstones of so remote a castle as this, it can only mean that the dungeon has grown, precisely as I designed. It has grown far beyond its old limits, and even now hard-bit is reforming below our feet. That is the power you sense, Malice. Is it not glorious?
I have never known power like it. So full of tangents, so full of possibilities. What can it mean?
The dungeon that the Gruach enchanted is limitless in what it can be, but as the magic of each era fades, it hibernates once more, and like the caterpillar in its chrysalis, it only awakens long after, reborn in a new form.
But that would mean that the dungeon has nearly finished reforming itself. The next era is about to begin.
Yes, very soon now. Perhaps only a few hours. Come, my dear. We must observe the dungeon's new shape and acquaint ourselves with it.
I see.
I'm most glad that you see, Master.
Actually, on second thoughts, I don't see. What was your name again?
Pica Nostra Liga Rosca Chogafanza de Ville, Master. Somewhat difficult to pronounce in the mortal tongue, no?
Yes, that's why I asked you to repeat it.
I was happy to do so if it helped, Master.
Not much, no. And I still don't see why you're here.
My master, the noble King Arawn of Anwin Wood, has sent me here to be his emissary to Nightmare Castle. I am to serve as your seneschal.
That's the bit I don't understand. I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Pica Nostra... Well, just call me something similar but easier to remember for now, Master. It's what mortals usually do when trying to converse with elves, and, truth be told, I'd feel more comfortable if you weren't to use my calling name anyway.
Very well. I'll call you... Oh, I don't know. How does your name begin again?
Pica Nostra Liga.
Fine. I'll call you Pica Nostril.
Oh, must you?
On second thoughts, maybe not. How about Pickle?
Pickle? Well, I would have liked something a little more respectable.
If it's to be something easy to remember, it needs to be something you remind me of. Respectability isn't necessarily one of those things.
But I do remind you of vegetables garnished in old vinegar?
Anyway, as I was saying, Pickle. Last time I met Arawn, I extracted an oath of fealty from him, one I suspect he'd like lifted. Why is he now sending me gratuitous servants?
'Tis not my place to question the word of a king, Master, least of all the word of one who has reigned Elfland since the dawn of mortal time.
So in other words, he sent you here to spy on me.
Spy? No!
No?
Well, if he did, he forgot to mention it to me. In truth...
Yes?
Well, in truth, Master, he did mention that I should report back to him the moment I hear anything about...
About what? Come on, Pickle, spit it out.
Well, he said if I ever find out where the errant Lady Velda is hiding, I should inform him straight away. She went missing a little while after the breach formed between your dungeon and the Elflands. The king thinks she has turned renegade again.
Velda? You can tell Arawn I've seen nothing of her since the last era of the dungeon ended. If that is all the business you have here, Sprite, you may as well leave.
I still have my assignment, Master, to keep watch on the dungeon to see if she returns to it. In exchange for being allowed to investigate, I can help you administer the dungeon.
I don't need help with that.
Of course not, Master. I suppose you're right. I might as well go back to the Greenwood then. Nothing new in me being unwanted, of course. Actually, I have a suspicion that the king sent me here just to get me out of his hair for a bit. Oh, he'll be most angry with me when he sees me back again so soon. I imagine he'll roast me alive over the flames of a stone salamander for a few days before exiling me for failing in my duty here. How can such a cold heart dish out such fiery treatment? Most cruel. But that's not your concern, is it, Master? I apologize for rambling on. I'll be on my way, I suppose.
Oh, all right, Pickle. You can stay. For a while.
I can?
Just long enough to convince your king that you're doing a good job, mind.
Why, thank you, Master. Oh, I'm most grateful.
Yes, well, I suppose I could do with some help keeping the Book of Quests up to date anyway.
Consider it done, Master. We elves are all excellent at record-keeping.
Just remember, Elfwit, that there are rules here. 5 in particular apply to you. First, when a dungeoneer is on a quest, you may not interfere in it in any way. Clear?
I shall be the soul of discretion itself.
Second, when I give you an instruction, you obey it instantly and fully. Clear?
I understand perfectly, Master. I shall be the embodiment of obedience.
Third, you will keep in mind at all times that you are an assistant, and that I am the Dungeon Master. Therefore, you will not infringe on my prerogatives in any way. Clear?
I will always know my place, Master, and never shall I step beyond those bounds.
Fourth, make sure you are never late to perform your duties as Keeper of the Book of Quests. Clear?
My whole purpose of being from now on is to serve as Keeper of the Book of Quests, Master. It would not be possible for me to be late to discharge those duties when I have no other purpose to keep me from them.
And fifth, try to keep at least one of those 4 promises.
Keep one of them? Well, that's a bit of a tall order.
The final level has almost taken shape, my lord.
Indeed, and most gratifying that the dungeon has again accepted some of the modifications I fed it.
Modifications?
A small idea I put into its living core some months ago. Another dabble in technology.
A sorcerer indulging in technology?
I did not expect approval from you, Malice, nor do I require it. But why did it surprise you? You think the Corridor of Spears and the Ultimatum were the offspring of pure sorcery?
No, my lord, but...
And who do you think created them?
What have you created this time, then?
A new device from the foundry of Castle Daemonia. Something to cut Merlin's nasty little whelps down to size. None but the fleetest dungeoneers shall reach the furthest sanctum of the catacombs now, where you and I shall be waiting for them.
Logdred, I will have words with you.
Morgana, this is an expected pleasure.
If you expected me, then you will already know why I want words. You have double-crossed me.
Hardly.
You promised me control of the Dream Caverns. The dungeon is now back in phase, and I find the caverns no longer exist. How can I control what does not exist?
I think you will find, if you think back, that I promised you the amulet that controls the cavern. I fulfilled that promise to you months ago.
But what use is the amulet when the chambers it controls are no longer there?
Hardly my concern with the amulet out of my possession.
But...
And surely a small concern for one with your superior command of dark sorcery.
You knew this was going to happen, didn't you?
I warned you that I had the better of this bargain, Morgana, and you were a fool if you truly believed that I would allow anyone but myself to control a power such as the Dream Cavern.
You expect me just to accept that? I won't.
So reject it if you must. It will not bring the caverns back.
You forget, Logdred. Your precious alliance with Daemonia hinges on my marriage to the Earl. Were I to renege...
So renege? I stand amazed that you haven't already murdered the tiresome fool.
But I don't understand.
You are quite as brainless as the Earl. I secured all I need from that alliance within days of your wedding. The alliance is now superfluous. End it, as you no doubt wish. It will hinder no one.
There are always more direct methods of revenge, Mordred.
And I look forward to your attempt to demonstrate them to me. I am Mordred. I am darkness. I am without equal in darkness. Challenge me if you dare, Morgana. I will meet it tenfold.
I will not rest until I see you dead for this, Mordred.
Master, this can't be the same dungeon. It can't be.
You still don't grasp the intricacies of the dungeon, Adrian.
Oh, I understand the principle, Merlin, but this makes no sense. The dungeon of old had only spread a few hundred acres beyond the walls. In no time at all, it's reached Castle Doom. Dunshelm is over 80 miles from here.
Yes, and it's not just spread to Doham. It has reached Dungarth, Walk, Demonia, and even the Tower of Time.
How? It can't have done this by itself, not so soon.
It didn't. Precisely as I warned Treguard, Mordred is trying to accelerate the growth of the dungeon beyond its natural powers. And already his influence covers the border castles built by William Rufus. Treguard will have to choose sides soon.
I didn't realize even Mordred was this powerful.
Ingenuity makes up for sorcery's limitations, my apprentice.
So it seems.
I wonder what other changes he might have made.
Well, Mordred, you didn't exactly make it difficult for me to find you, did you? I am unsure what makes me angrier, that you betrayed me, or that you refused to take the threat I posed to you seriously. For the betrayal, you died. For the insult, you lived. Long enough for death to hurt a great deal. Well, have you nothing to say? Or will you just scream? Mordred? What the? This isn't Mordred. It's just a pile of bones.
You did say you would not rest until you saw me dead, Morgana. Seeing a corpse disguised as me will have to suffice.
No! Rani of Rama! You think a haunting can destroy me? I have survived centuries. I have outlived death itself. And I have 1,000 torments for every year I have lived. And they are all waiting to play themselves out on you. Feel it, Mordred. Feel my power twisting the life out of your gutless shell. Feel my anger as it burns and shrivels your flesh. Feel death as I once felt it.
I have a health warning for you, Morgana. Death is habit forming. And inhaling smoke from a fireball can do serious harm to your powers of respiration. By law, this warning will be duplicated on every fireball.
Who are you?
You may be spiteful, Morgana. You may be angry, and you may be hateful. But only I am Malice. Here endeth the government health warning. Are you well, my lord?
Of course. It would take far more than that to overcome Mordred.
Of course.
Your intervention was hardly necessary.
Indeed. Is that why you kept me on standby outside the door for the last 4 hours?
Nonetheless, you did passably well.
My lord is much too kind.
You displayed commendable loyalty and... Wait. I sense something else.
I sense it also.
What? Dungeoneer! The Dungeoneer has entered Dunkley Wood.
It will find the Tower of Time. My lord, it will invade our realm.
We must observe the Dungeoneer's approach and prepare for its arrival. To the levels!
Master, this current temple shift disturbs me.
Any reason?
Trouble lies ahead, and not just for the Dungeoneer. This quest to reach the lowest level, perhaps the furthest reaches of the dungeon, and is just a single part of a wider tangle of events.
The quest, whoever's quest it is always just part of a wider tangle of events, Pickle.
I understand that, Master, but this is different. This time it is one link in a long chain, and it leads to...
To what?
Change.
Be more precise.
I'm not sure. We have seen great changes with the dungeon's new era, but an even greater change is imminent, and this quest is part of it. I'm sure of it.
I congratulate you on your success, my lord. Although it was hardly a challenging opponent.
Any opponent can offer some measure of challenge. This Dungeoneer would not serve me, and she was armed with great sorcery.
And chose the wrong spell to cast. A challenging opponent would never make such a basic error.
The art of defeating opponents lies in finding their weaknesses and exploiting them. If inexperience in handling magic is their weakness, then that is the one I shall exploit.
More impressive, surely, to defeat one who has no weaknesses.
Such a being does not exist in this realm.
Thanks to me.
Have a care, Malice. I have noticed your arrogance flourishing unhealthily since our victory over Morgana.
My victory?
I beg your pardon?
Why do you attempt to deny it, my lord? I defeated her, and I rescued you from her. I mean no insult to you merely by stating it. I simply wish to be paid my due.
Wish noted and ignored.
My lord?
Let me make something abundantly clear to you, subordinate. Had you not intervened against Morgana, I would have defeated her myself, and with little difficulty.
You lie.
You dare to...
You lie! And not just to me! Do not deceive yourself, my lord. You were about to lose that battle, and probably your life if I hadn't been there to save you. I'm not challenging you by saying it.
Your impudence is all the challenge I need. Spellcasting. P-A-N-G.
No!
Do you feel it? Do you feel your vitals twisting in the grasp of my mystical hand? Do you feel it, Morgana? Do you feel the pain I can inflict on you?
My lord, I am not Morgana. You called me Morgana.
I did not.
You did. Do not pretend, my lord. She frightened you more than you can admit.
Mugdred fears nothing!
He fears Morgana.
No!
It's true.
No!
Why can't you face it? Are you too weak to accept your own terror?
Begone, traitor! Let banishment teach you humility!
One is well aware who you are. Allow one to express a moment of astonishment.
If one must.
It is as well for you, Malice, that one is impartial in dungeon matters between light and dark, knowing them as one does to be no more than twin illusions. Otherwise, one might feel compelled to take offensive action against a servant of Mogdred. especially against one so bold as to invade the highest reaches of the first level.
Then let me set your mind at rest, Hordris. I serve Mogdred no more, it would seem.
Ah, yours was a short term of service, was it not?
Perhaps. It was just a misunderstanding. I was loyal, but Mogdred has banished me. He is unforgiving.
You expected any different? If you crave forgiveness, you joined quite the wrong order. One's sympathies are not aroused, but one's curiosity is piqued. What business have you here?
Tell me, have you work for the next Dungeoneer?
None. One does have certain interests that may require resources from the lower levels, but none that are pressing.
Very well. Then there would be no clash of interests between us if I were to hire the next Dungeoneer for a purpose of my own?
Well, that would depend on the purpose.
I require a gemstone from the 3rd level. One the Dungeoneer might come across on his travels?
That is all?
That is all.
Then one has no objections. You may proceed. But be warned, Malice. One shall be watching for signs of treachery.
I have no issue with you, Warlock. There will be no treachery. What is the Dungeoneer's name?
One understands his name to be Alistair.
Indeed? Well, I hope his interests coincide with mine. It would sadden me to have to vaporize a traveler with such a lyrical calling.
Your name?
Skarkill, my lord.
Ah, I think I recall you from that wedding some months ago. Were you not the one responsible for my guard being found grossly inebriated on duty?
Well, I didn't force him to drink all 3 flagons, like.
And you did not encourage him to perform that obscene striptease on the high table?
Me, my lord? Never.
And nor were you the one who grabbed his ankle whilst he was dancing, causing him to fall onto the wedding cake and to leave the shape of one of his more sensitive bodily organs imprinted on the icing?
No, not I, your boniness. Although I can't deny I was one of the people laughing, like.
Yes, very droll. But not conducive to a happy business atmosphere between your employer and myself.
Oh, I should say not, my lord. Most concerned I was. Weddings are usually a free-for-all between families as it is, without giving an excuse for a fight like that.
Quite. And rest assured that Gumboil has been appropriately punished.
He has?
Oh, yes. Suffice to say, his sword required considerable wiping down before it was fit for renewed use.
Oh.
So, Scarlet, why have you dared enter these dimensions?
I came as an emissary from Castle Demorny.
Naturally.
The Lady Morgana of Demorny has been missing for some days, like, and giving her dealings with your esteemed self.
You were wondering whether I might know of her whereabouts, were you?
Yeah. Well, not me, but the Earl was kind of...
I am sure he was. Tell me, Skarkill, when were you dispatched from Demonia?
About 2 days ago, Squire.
My emissary arrived at Demonia around 1 day ago.
Your emissary?
Indeed, and by the calculations made possible by my considerable knowledge of chemical sorcery, the poison he slipped into the Earl's wine goblet would have taken effect around 6 hours ago.
Pardon?
Your overlord will be dead by now, Skarkill. Is that not right, Gumboil?
Right you are, my lord. Gumboil the Diligent has fulfilled his duty as dependable as ever. The Earl died shortly before dawn this morning.
You have redeemed yourself, Gumboil.
Thank you, my lord. Thank
you. You will assume guard duty between Daemonia and Level 2 forthwith. As for you, Skarkill, you had best assume that you are now out of work. You see, as his wife, Morgana is the sole inheritor of the Daemonia estate, and as she is missing and my subordinate, I must assume the heavy burden of treasurer to her inheritance, until Morgana should return to reclaim her dowry. Daemonia is therefore under my control, and my first act as treasurer is to dismiss its staff, starting with you.
That ain't fair, like, my lord.
You feel you are being treated unreasonably?
I'll say.
Then perhaps you would care for Mogdred to demonstrate his rigorous powers of renegotiation.
No. Thank you, my lord, but I thinks I sees your point of view, like.
How very understanding of you. Now, unless there is anything else?
No, my lord.
Very well. Have your rooms at Castle Daemonia vacated within 2 days. This audience is ended. Be gone.
I'll be gone.
Now, what progress in the game? Where is the next of Merlin's nasty little charges? Ah, what do I see in my dread green eye? Another dungeoneer in the 3rd level. How did I not sense? Ah, wait. Oh, yes. Now I understand. I see the dungeoneer is collaborating with the traitor. Malice has been screening my senses from detecting the approach of the ice shield. What is that the dungeoneer is giving her? Dragon's breath! No! Malice has stolen the Emerald of Medroth from me!
Who goes there?
Who's asking, like?
No need to be suspicious, old thing. I might be friendlier than you expect.
That wouldn't be saying much. Anyone wandering around Dunkley Wood looking like a skeleton seems about as friendly as Death warmed up.
Well, maybe that's what I am.
Death warmed up?
Slightly warmed up, yes.
What do you want?
You are Skarkill, aren't you?
Could be. I still want to know who's asking.
I understand you run the sprite pens at Daemonia Castle.
You misunderstood. Daemonia's under new management. That means I's out of work.
Unfortunate. Who would the new management be?
He's called Mogdred. Nasty piece of works.
Isn't he just? I could almost grow to like him. Tell me, Skarkill, do you still have access to Daemonia?
That's why I was heading now, to clear out my belongings.
Oh, good.
Why good?
We may be able to help each other, Skarkill. I have plans. For them to work, I need a base, a headquarters from which I can operate away from the prying eyes of my teacher. Daemonia would be ideal. It has access to the spreading dimensions of the dungeon, it is well fortified, and it has an idiot for an overlord.
Correction. It had an idiot for an overlord. Now Mogred's in control. I reckon he'll do plenty to keep it.
The terror of that fort doesn't exactly have me at a loss for bladder control, Skarkill.
You're a cocky one, ain't you?
Mogdred is a huffer and a puffer. He'll threaten his opponents till they're blue in the ears, but his powers are far more limited than he wants us to believe.
And how would you know?
Let's just say I've learned from the worst. And Mogdred is the dark side of the worst. Now, the way I see it, Skarkill, Mogdred has deprived you of your livelihood. You have nothing to lose by helping me, and you have every chance to gain revenge. Besides, I'll need a new master of the sprite pens once I've taken control of the castle.
Me?
Yes, you. Why, do you have a problem with that?
No. I got plenty announced that line of work, so long as you treat me better than Morgana treated the last pens master.
Oh?
Well, he was getting old like, and he was ill, and kept forgetting things. One morning, he let her favourite pixie escape, and so Morgana banishes him to the mines of Melipath, cast him into a fire cabin. The poor old fool's terrified of fire.
Ah, good old Morgana. Always happy to throw a punch to a man who's drowning. Well, no need for me to treat you that way. You're not losing your memory as far as I can tell. Unlike others I know. And the sprite pens will be useful when I repopulate them.
I don't understand.
At present, the sprite pens at Daemonia are occupied by pets, Skarkill. Creatures the Earl held there to satisfy his dim-witted curiosity. I intend to use them as a holding cell for defense. An army to protect my new workshop.
What workshop?
That's something you'll learn, Scarkill, if you help me take Castle Demonia. Do we have a deal?
It wasn't my doing, my lord. I swear to God.
You will swear to Mugdred!
But of course. Well, God, Mugdred, hardly any difference really, is there?
Flattery will get you flattened, Gumboil. I am well aware that you have accepted bribes from dungeoneers in the past, and as that boy Alistair was able to reach level 3 and steal a treasure unhindered, naturally I am given to wonder exactly how he did so without you intercepting him. Bribery, perhaps, or inebriation on duty.
I swear it again. You posted me to guard the level 2 wellway at Demonia, and I promise you on my life that no dungeoneers have headed through this way. The only level 1 sightings of dungeoneers we've had all season have been on the path through Doom and Dungarth. No one's come near Demonia.
You are certain of that, are you?
I am. Gumboil the unswerving declares...
Oh, stop ranting, you pompous little fool. Tell me one thing. Who currently defends the wellways at Doom and Dungarth?
Gibbet and Fatilla. They've agreed a rotation between themselves.
Rotation?
Well, yeah. They keep swapping assignments.
To alleviate boredom?
Probably. You know what guard duty's like.
Hardly. It has been far too long since anyone outranked me enough to assign me to such a menial task. Dismissed. Fatilla the Hun, I will have words with you.
Who puts me off when Fatilla the Hun is on guard?
Gratified to see my troops are at their alert best.
Oh, thought Boney's face himself, huh?
I beg your utterly minuscule and inconsequential pardon?
No, I mean, hail, great Mugdred.
Better. Now, Fatilla, you have some explaining to do.
Not a bad time, I trust, Dungeon Master.
Bad time? Is there any other kind in this place, Merlin? The path between here and the future is in temporal disruption. If discretion is needed, now is as good a time as any.
What matter do you wish to take our minds on, Merlin?
Well, it's a little embarrassing, to be honest.
Master, would this be one of those conversations that only humans should be present for?
I'm not sure. Merlin, are you trying to say that you are ill in some way?
No, I don't mean embarrassing in that sense.
Oh, thank goodness.
I've lost something.
Well, where did you leave it?
I think, Pickle, that if you could remember the answer to that, it wouldn't be lost. What's missing, Merlin?
This is what is embarrassing. Not what, but who. I've lost my apprentice.
Apprentice?
I wasn't even aware that you had an apprentice.
Ah, well, I always meant to introduce you, but, well, I kept forgetting to. Anyway, I've been teaching him for, let's see now, several years. He's become quite adept, in fact. But he's been missing for several days. I can't for the life of me imagine where he's got to.
All right, Squire. Give me a few minutes to sneak inside the castle, and I'll lower the drawbridge.
Just how many minutes are a few supposed to be?
Oh, about 10.
So take 10 minutes and 10 seconds and I'll know you're a liar.
You think I'd lie to you?
Only when you're drunk. Oh yes, and when you're sober.
Well, I ain't lied so far, has I?
I've noticed ambiguity in some of the things you say.
What?
And feigned stupidity.
That makes me ambiguous, does it?
There is no greater hiding place for a lie than within the truth, Scarkill.
You getting philosophical in your young age?
We're in a hurry, Scarkill.
On my way.
I would ask if I can trust you, goody bad wife. But in these troubled times, I can ill afford rhetorical questions.
Oh, you can trust me as far as you can throw me.
The temptation to test that statement to its full limits is profound.
Well, as far as you can pay me then, yes?
Will which amber do?
2 a week, my final offer that is, and not an amber less.
1 every 5 days.
Done. What you want me to do?
The stone I have obtained is the Emerald of Medrort. It has given me power, but not the wisdom to use it effectively against its master. There is a tome written by Mogdred himself. It lies within the 3rd level, and I will obtain it.
I isn't going into no 3rd level, no way. Not me, not for all the amber in the forest.
You misunderstand me, Mistress Goody. I shall hire a dungeoneer to obtain the book for me. I have a simpler task for you.
Like?
You will serve as my eyes within level 2. Once I have obtained the tome, I will need to escape level 3, and you are going to keep the path from the Tower of Time open for me to use.
I can manage that, I can. You really want to go after Mogdred this much?
I want his blood. Revenge is a dish best served red.
Oh, yuck, that's gross.
Enough, Goody. Should I ever need a convincing impersonation of a pain, I will know whom to ask for. But at this time, I need an assistant instead.
So be it. I goes now.
Just so we're clear, Scarkill, I made it 11 minutes and 41 seconds.
True. You were really counting like. I thought you were just trying to be scary.
Oh, that would be a wasted effort, Scarkill. If I wish to be frightening, I need not try at all. Can we go a bit faster, please?
I can't go any faster, like. I bashed my leg on the portcullis. My knees hurt.
Oh, well, you know what they say. Nothing travels faster than bad knees.
You mean bad news, don't you?
It was a joke, Scarkill.
Oh.
Never mind. Where are the sprite pens?
They're built out of the courtyard below the northwest wing square.
And that drunken oaf, Gumboil, is still guarding the south?
Seems like it. He'll be too busy keeping watch on the wellway in that part of the fort to notice us.
Good. The castle seems short-staffed enough right now that we can seize control of the pens without Mogdred even finding out.
Oh, he'll find out eventually. Got eyes in the back of his head, that one.
Really? I must try to emulate the design sometime.
Still, I can keep this thief from taking a peek at us for the time being. All I need to do is...
Spare me the details, Scarkill. I don't need to know solutions, I just need to see them. Now listen, my plan for securing this fortress from Mogdred is twofold. You are going to sort out the manpower we need to defend it. Meanwhile, I am planning a little diversion to take the fight straight to level 3.
In forests dark, in waters cold, on enchanted lands flow the dragon behold. In fires bright burning... What? Who dares disturb one in matters of highest incantation? Who dares? I demand again, who dares?
I does. Goes off out of the forest. My mistress commands it.
Your mistress? The Grey Sisters dare claim Dunkley Wood for their own now?
Not the Grey Sisters, no, not them. Now buzz off.
No. One has no quarrel with you, crone. One has urgent business at the Tower of Time and...
Not anymore, you hasn't. Push on.
Karaskaram. I warn you now, Mistress Goody. One will tolerate no further impediment to one's progress.
So come up here and stop me, beardy weirdy. Can you fly? Can you?
No. One cannot.
Clear off out of the forest then, Beardy. You ain't welcome here.
Very well, Crone. One shall retreat. This time. But mark well, one shall remember this disrespect, one shall remember the obstruction, and one shall remember the insult.
Whatever, just buzz off.
Squire, eyes. Great goblins.
Ah, Scarkill. Welcome to my new workshop. What progress?
What the blazes is that?
Oh, you mean this contraption? Just bits of metal I scrounged up from the foundry. It's very much a work in progress at the moment, and will be for a while. But I have big plans for it.
You had to bend some of the rods to fit them under the ceiling.
Like I say, big.
It's not just big. That thing could have a dragon lying in its nest. And it doesn't mean with fresh branches.
Never mind that, Scarkill. It'll take shape as soon as I get a chance to work on it. For now, we have other priorities. How goes the recruitment drive?
Not bad, Squire. I passed those phony instructions to Gunboy like I said I would. He's already on his way home. Oh, and I dumped those pixies and imps from the pens into the moat.
I asked about recruitment, not the clear out.
Well, that's good news too. I just got back from the forest. I just picked up a couple of goblins, like. Caught them chewing on some wild boar. Lots of blood. Lovely. I decided to call them Rippy and Choke, because that's what they was doing when I found them, you see. Rippy had one boar in his hand and was trying to tear legs off it. Lovely sight. And Choke had his hands on the other boar's neck, and he
Goblins, huh?
Huh? Yeah. That's okay, ain't it?
Well, it's a start. We'll need a few more recruits.
Suits me.
Don't like the names, though. Think up something else for them.
Oh, what about Rock, then? It sounds like the lovely noise those choking pigs are making while their throats were getting...
Yes, splendid. You know, with your subtle wordplay, Scarkill, Geoffrey of Monmouth must lie awake at night, fearing for his career. Follow me. I have another little scheme that should warm the cockles of your delightfully vindictive little heart.
Oh, good. You got me that set of nipple drillers I said we should...
No.
Oh.
See the red globe over there?
Yeah. I was kind of wondering what it is.
It's a useful little orb created by Morgana, which she seems to have left here. It's called a Necropticon.
Oh. What does it do?
For ignorant, untrained thugs like you, nothing. But for me, it is a powerful means of communication.
Wait.
It allows a skilled wizard to converse with spirits beyond this plane of existence.
Oh, very handy, I'm sure. Just not sure why.
Worry ye not, Scarkill. I'm an equal opportunities employer. I pride myself on making allowances for the hard of thinking. Morgana recently disappeared. Merlin detected traces of her spirit fading from this dimension, and signs are that it was dark magic that dismissed her. Mogdred's kind. You see, dear Scarkill, it would appear that Mogdred is not on the best of terms with numerous former allies of his.
Ah!
I have already deduced that Malice is plotting against him. She alone will threaten him, but just imagine if Morgana were to return to this plane of reality as well. She's not likely to be in the best of moods with him after he banished her, now is she?
Oh, I see. Play all ends off against the middle, like,
Absolutely. And while all three of them are wearing each other down, we can finish our work here and then pick up the pieces. Go ahead. You can say it.
Squire, that idea is very, very